Good day, all, and welcome to another edition of Local Legislator Live at 11. I'm your host, Charles Gates. We are a component of locallegislator.net, where our mission is to be the premier source of local election information in the United States and an advocate for the sustainability of local businesses nationwide. We do have a treat for you this morning. We have the founder of Joe Lee Hansley Foundation. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Gates. How you doing?
I'm
I'm
doing
doing great.
fantastic, fantastic. Now, we're going to jump right into this. We're not going to give any fluff. Now, let me ask you this: what was the inspiration for the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation?
Wow, thanks for asking that question. Uh, I lost my dad when I was in seventh grade. I could have easily went astray, which I did for a while, and I ended up in alternative school. And I had somebody to come in and mentor me, and that was kind of the groundbreaking and the starting, without me even knowing it, of the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation.
Hmm. And when was the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation founded?
It was founded in 2005. I was active duty military. I'm retired military. I'm 100% disabled veteran. And I knew that I wanted to give back. And I didn't know in what capacity. But after having great mentors uh, and having life-changing experiences in the military, it helped me find my passion and what it is that I wanted to do. So we started with scholarships. And we started in 2005 just wanting to give back.
Wanting to get back. Well, thank you for your service, first of all. And Joe Lee Hansley Foundation, what is your mission and your vision?
Wow, man, I'm so grateful and glad that you asked that. Okay, the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation mission is to provide outreach to at-risk youth by promoting educational enrichment, leadership skills, one-on-one mentoring, and global service initiatives that will cultivate the next generation of responsible leaders. That is our mission and our vision. At the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation, we envision driven and encouraged youth, standing on integrity, operating in strength, and growing in wisdom as they grow through life, learning to give back and dedicating their time, beliefs, and effort to others.
Oh, that is inspiring indeed. Now, you talk about the youth, and I know you have a few components there for the youth. Talk about the Gentlemen's Club mentoring and charms.
Man, I really appreciate that. So, Gentleman Club is near and dear to my heart. It's actually being now critiqued into the Boys to Men program. Our core values is vision, goals, and purpose. Okay, and far as our Boys to Men program, we're gonna start working with elementary school kids. We're gonna start because we're trying to meet them as early as possible so we can inspire them and get them to where they need to be. All right, our elementary school kids is called Men of Vision. We start inspiring and getting them to think about a vision and what it is that they want to do in life. So the elementary school kids are men of vision. And then once they start getting to the middle school, and our middle school babies is men of goals. So you got your vision, now you have your goal. So you got your vision, you thought about what it is that you want to do. Now you're gonna break down the goals to help get there. And then in high school, we're gonna have your purpose. So the high school guys are men of purpose. So you got your vision, you got your goal, and you got your purpose. And what we're doing as a foundation the whole time is bringing people in with skill sets that can motivate the young people and get them inspired. Because, all right, let's face it, I didn't have no electricians in my family. So for me to graduate high school and go into the military to be an electrician, I didn't know what an electrician was. I didn't know after going into the military, and being an electrician, that I would want to go to college for criminal justice or further my college with an MBA. I ain't know none of that stuff, right? Matter of fact, I didn't even think it was possible for me to go to college. That's why I'm so motivated to get young people on college campuses, right? But far as our Boys to Men mentoring program, what we do is, like I said, we meet kids where they at, we get them to where they need to be. All right. A lot of the kids never left their community. So to take a kid that's from, say, for instance, Hampton Roads, that's never left Hampton Roads, and take them to a Washington, D.C. or a Memphis or Ohio, places that we've taught the young people from this area, it's life-changing. Like, we was going on a trip. We was going on a trip, and we was going through the tunnel, and a young person asked, "What was this?" You got to literally go through a tunnel to get out of the city. And they've never been through the tunnel. I mean, it was heartbreaking. But at the same time, it showed us that what we're doing is so much needed. So I'm grateful for our Boys to Men mentoring program. Basically, we meeting young people as boys, and we teaching them how to be men. We teaching them how to tie ties. We teaching them how to tie bow ties, how to say yes, sir, no, sir. All the importance of what it is to be a productive member of society. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what we're doing. We want our young people to be productive members of society. And our Boys to Men mentoring program helps them get there.
Now, what about the Charms program, Joe?
Right. The Charms program is the female version of that. So we have people like me and you offline was talking about Miss Holly Flood, right? Miss Holly Flood brings her expertise in to the Charms program. The Charms program is basically identical to the Boys to Men mentoring program. We meeting young ladies where they at. We putting positive women in their lives, and hopefully to inspire them to be productive members of society. That's what it is at the end of the day. Like, we just built a relationship. I got a friend that's in NASA. We've already talked about getting our young people to go to NASA and do a tour. Whenever I told him about what it is I was trying to do, he had already had things in his mind like, oh yeah, we can go to this place, we can go to this place. Oh man, this would be exciting to him. And that's what we try to do. We try to build relationships with people within the community that's already established, so we can get our babies to see that they can do it. We try to get people that look like them, but a lot of the cases that just don't be the case. But at the same time, we still inspiring our babies. We get them to see different things. And I mean, we just got a relationship with a HBCU, or a graduate of HBCU, that was the first African-American to go to NASA. So now he have a relationship with other HBCUs to get kids inspired into the STEM program. So that's why we want to take the kids to NASA, so we can get them inspired in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. So we can constantly be feeding the seed, watering the seed, feeding the seed, inspiring them, letting them know, yes, this is definitely something that you can do. So now when it's time for them to graduate, instead of mom, dad having a whole lot of debt, now they got a scholarship, because they've been in a program where now they've set themselves up to get a scholarship.
That is so inspiring you would say that, Joe. I grew up in the New York City area, and my parents were not into opera. They were not into classical music. That just wasn't something that was talked about in the neighborhood. But because we lived so close, Radio City Music Hall and the Met, they were about 45 minutes away from my house. Just because they didn't like it, they purposely took my brother and I to go see these things, because we may have gotten inspired by that. I mean, we didn't, but still they gave us the opportunity to see that this is what other people are doing. And if you like what you see and you want to do this, this is an opportunity for you to at least to see and be exposed. So we commend you for that.
Now, hey, I mean, like and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got another story where, we had young people. We was going on a college trip last year, and we was going to Washington, D.C. And this young person was, man, I got my 1 and 2 college. I'm going to North Carolina A&T, or I'm going to Howard University. And we was, at the time we was going to Howard University. They've never heard of Morgan State, but Morgan State was one of the colleges that they went to, right? We got on the campus. They was able to see and feel the atmosphere. They seen themselves there. So Howard went from number 1 or number 2 all the way down to number 3, but he signed with Morgan State. right? And he's at Morgan State right now on a scholarship.
Is
So
that
man, we're
right?
just grateful, man. We're just grateful to be able to put kids in a situation where we can expose them to things that they wouldn't have seen otherwise, and it's helping making them to be productive members of society. You know, I'm talking a lot about colleges, but we also bring in tech school experts. We bring business owners that's making $150,000 being a plumber. I mean, it blew my mind. My mouth dropped. I couldn't believe it, right? But he explained it to me. And this wasn't even the owner that was making $150,000 a year. This was just one of his head technicians. You know, so if you can get some kids in a classroom and you can tell them after 6 months and with the right clientele and the right work ethic, you can be making $150,000 a year. That's gonna get any kid attention. That's gonna get a grown-up's attention. Matter of fact, I got a story about this doctor. Okay, it was a doctor. His toilet wasn't working. The doctor's toilet wasn't working. He called a plumber over. The plumber came over. He fixed it in like 10 minutes, right? And the doc was like, man, how much do you owe me? Oh, that's $250, right? He was literally there 15 minutes. So that's $1,000 an hour. The doctor said, man, I'm a doctor and I don't make $1,000 an hour, right? The plumber looked back and said, oh, when I was a doctor, I didn't make $1,000 either, right? So he was a doctor and now he's a plumber. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we can laugh at it, right? The people go to school for 8 years, you know, and it's somebody that can go to school for 6 months, get the right clientele, you know, and can make just as much as a doctor if you got the right drive, the right motivation. And that's what we try to teach our young people, man. You can be anything you want to be, and we're trying to inspire you to do that. You know, you put yourself around the right people, you know, and the sky's the limit. We're not gonna know everything. We as human beings, we're not gonna know everything, right? But you want to get yourself a team. You want to get yourself around the right people. If you're the smartest in your circle, you got to expand your circle, right? You got to be able to know how to ask for help. You got to be able to receive help, you know, and these just some of the minor things that we teach our babies. And it goes a long way whenever a young person call you back and be like, man, thank you for believing in me. I'm grateful that you believed in me. And now they got 2 degrees, you know. Matter of fact, it was a young person. This was probably 2007. All right. That mom, I didn't even know. She reached out in 2014. This was 2007 when we gave the scholarship, because back then that's all we was doing was scholarships, right? Mom called me in 2014. She actually inboxed me, right? And she said, man, I just want you to know that the scholarship was life-changing. And I'm like, a $500 scholarship was life-changing? You know, but then she explained that the year that her daughter graduated, her brother had graduated a year before, right? And he had a stroke at 19. And she didn't know how she was going to get him to college. But on top of that, she was battling stage 4 breast cancer. So now the daughter that didn't know how she was going to get to school and wasn't inspired to go to school, right, but getting recognized at our awards night for getting a scholarship, she's been motivated to not just get 1 degree, but to have 2 degrees, 2 jobs, and taking care of a brother and a mom. That's the stories that motivate us as a foundation to wake up, put our pants on, and do what we do day in and day out.
Oh, that inspires. That makes me want to get out there and hit the streets with you, Joe. Now you mentioned a lot about
Man, we love to
college.
have you now. We'd love to have you, Mr. Gates.
We'll talk after the show.
All right.
Now you talked a lot about college tours. Now, who is eligible to participate, and how does that work? Those college tours.
Okay, man, I'm glad you asked that question. Man, it's a first come, first serve. Listen, we don't turn around anybody. We got a lot of community partners, and we work with our community partners to make sure that all of our young people that want to take advantage of the college trips can take advantage of the college trips. Unfortunately, we're not able to take care of every kid, but it is our absolute goal to take care of any young person, white, black, Asian, gay, straight, whatever, right? We take care of all of our young people. All right. If a young person comes and needs to be mentored, need to be inspired, we will do that for them.
Now you talked about scholarships too. Now who's eligible for those, and how does that work?
Man, another great question, man. Man, you sending some loaded questions so I can just knock them out the box, man. I love them. So we actually have 3 scholarships. As I stated earlier, I'm retired military. I'm 100% disabled veteran. And one of the scholarships is what we call the military scholarship. Parent or grandparent had to have been in the military. I was also an athlete, right? Football is what made me into who I am today, right? I talked about the guidance counselor coming over while I was in alternative school and inspiring me. He was also the football coach, right? And it ended up changing my life when I started being around the right people, positive role models, people that's on the football team, so they ain't the ones that's out goofing around because they knew they wanted to play on Friday nights. So we have a military, I already said a military scholarship. We also have a sports scholarship, right? You just had to ladder in a sport. It didn't matter what sport it was. So if you got one ladder, you could have laddered in the 9th grade, right? You could have not laddered in the 10th, 11th, or 12th. It doesn't matter. You just send us your ladder as well as with your application, and it will be advised for the sports scholarship and the catch-all, right? Parent wasn't in the military. You never did a sports. You was that ballet or that talent person that you was just talking about, right? You don't do sports. The catch-all is the academic scholarship. You just had to, graduate. That's it.
Okay. To our listeners out there, if you like this interview and you want more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Connect with us on Twitter and Instagram, like our Facebook page. And remember to leave us a comment telling us who you want to hear next. And we will try our best to get that person or that organization head on here for you. Now, Joe, you mentioned earlier about a team. What is a team, and where else are you? I notice you're in different states. You're not just in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Of course. Man, we have a phenomenal team. You look on our Facebook page, you look at our website, all you see is my face, right? We have a phenomenal team, starting with our vice president, Sterling Sanders. He's the IT director at Tennessee State. He's been doing that for 3 years, but he actually started in 2005 after he graduated from Valdosta State. So from he's been at Valdosta State as their IT director, but now he's at Tennessee State and he's been there for 3 years. He has a phenomenal resume, and his resume / bio is on our website. And then we have Miss Monique Harmon. She's actually our chief finance officer. She's a graduate of Valdosta State as well, but she's currently living in Ohio. So when it comes to the grants that we get, when it comes to me, waking up all times of the night to ask a simple question via text or a phone call, she's always there. That's Miss Monique Harmon. She's our CFO. We also have our secretary, which is Miss Erica Williams. She's in Atlanta. And this is all our executive board. So we all have sub boards in each one of these in each one of these cities. They are over sub boards, kind of how what I'm doing here as the president in Virginia. They have sub boards in each one of their cities. So they're doing stuff to inspire young people. And last but not least, we have Miss Brittany Moore, and she's actually our social media person, and she's over all of our social media and all of our press release and stuff like that. So I'm just grateful for the team. Like I said, none of this would work, without the team. None of this would work without Erica making sure that at 11 o'clock I was here, for this meeting. This wouldn't work if Monique wasn't making sure that we got the grants, to make sure that we got the funds, you know, to make sure that that college trip happened. I mean, it wasn't, and if it wasn't for Sterling, whenever I'm out or down and out, you know, him stepping up and making sure that everything run. I mean, it's a team effort, man. Like the team, I look at our team like a car. You know, you got somebody that's the tires, you got somebody that's the engine, you got somebody that's the transmission, you know, you got somebody that's the starter. You know, if one link in the team is not working, then the team ain't working. Just like that car wouldn't be working, right? So I try to take care of our team as much as possible. I mean, I love each and every one of them like they're my brother or sister. I mean, we got a phenomenal relationship. We actually going on a retreat to work on our 5-year plan from the 10th through the 14th of September. We're going to do that in Memphis because we're in the process of starting a team in Memphis. This is South Memphis. The babies need us, man. Lemoyne is one of the schools that we work with. It's in South Memphis. Zero questions asked. They actually have 15 bridge program spots. We had a kid that had a 1.9, definitely not condoning a 1.9, right? But he's at Lemoyne right now with a 3.7, right? He was able to get out of his environment and everything that he had going on back home, and now he's in college with a 3.7, you know? So, I mean, just very, very grateful for our team, man. We wouldn't be able to do none of the stuff that we do without the team. Like I said, we're going on a retreat from the 10th to the 14th of September, and we're going to be actually working on our 5-year plan. We're going to figure out what colleges we want to attend. We want to figure out how we can better impact and love on our babies. That's the Gentlemen's Club. That's the Charms program. That's everything. And that's what we're going to be working on.
Now, every time you talk, Joe, your face just lights up because you can hear and see the passion that you have for what you do, and it's not just you. You inspired and you talked about and gave accolades, acknowledged and recognized your team, and that's going to empower them. And all of your young people that watch this, they're going to be empowered by this, and just your energy that comes across is almost like you're almost like Fruit Loops, and that bird that's coming towards you because you got this energy that just exudes out of your pores. Now, I know you like to share your success stories. I'm going to ask you to share 2 more. One with your Gentlemen's Club or one of those mechanisms, and one with your Charm student.
Wow, man. Wow. I have so many, man. You got me down. Man. Yeah, all right. So we went to Ohio. I said, I was just explaining, Monique is in Ohio. We went on a college trip where we went to 5 different colleges, and we was able to get, you know, young people from here in Hampton Roads to Ohio, you know, and it was life-changing, man. And, you know, just to see the smiles on their faces, because where we went and where we stayed at was Portsmouth, Ohio. I do work in Portsmouth, Virginia. So the kids was able to explain, you know, what the quote unquote real Portsmouth was, right? But the babies, man, the babies had a blast. And we went to Ohio State, we went to University of Cincinnati, we went to Dayton, we went to the University of Ohio, you know, and we got a young person that's going to one of those schools, the University of Cincinnati, right? Not on a sports scholarship, but an academic scholarship. And they're going to actually be going into the ROTC program. And they got a $50,000 a year ROTC program. So, man, I'm just grateful, man. God has put us in a situation to really be able to bless people. And this young person is going to be going from Hampton Roads to Cincinnati to be in an ROTC program. I'm talking first generational college student now. Dad nowhere around. Mom doing all the work. Mom reached out almost crying, man. I mean, the kid, you know, I mean, I know you said one story, but we also got another story, right? I was at IC Norcom because that's one of the schools that we work with.
And that's in Norfolk, Virginia, right?
No, IC Norcom is, I said IC Norcom, it's in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Okay,
IC Norcom is, yes. And I always try to be dressed how I am right now, especially when I go and I approach the babies. a collared shirt at a minimum. But man, I was dressed. I had my suit on. I had my bow tie on. And he was like, man, sir, what do you do? I was like, oh, yeah, we mentor youth. We take them on college trips. The same energy that you was just talking about. I had it all with him. He was just super excited. You know, we having a full conversation. He like, man, all the kids here lame, because he done came from Newport News. He done been to 6 different schools. Just this year, he done got kicked out of the whole Newport News school system, right? So now he's over here, and he don't agree with none of the kids. He don't know none of the kids, and all the kids are lame, is what he said. You know, but I was able, we had a good conversation. I was able to share with him the story about my dad dying when I was in 7th grade. I didn't talk about this in the interview, but my brother got shot in the head, getting robbed, and he died, you know, and I was able to explain all of this stuff to him. And after we had the conversation, right, it was literally tears in his eyes, right? I brung him to him, I hugged him and told him that I loved him. He said, a man ain't never told me he loved me before. A man ain't never told me that he loved me before. That almost crushed me, right? But at the same time, again, it shows us that what we're doing is so much needed, right? At that time, we was going to Memphis. Like, we was about a week out from going on our Memphis trip. We wasn't able to go because of all of the red tape and all of the stuff that was going on with him, you know, still with Child Protective Services for everything that he did while he was over in Newport News, all right? But he was able to go that next year. He was able to go Washington, D.C. with us on that same trip, and he went to Morgan State as well. So, man, it's just building relationships for our babies, okay, to help them get to where they need to be. And Morgan State has been it. Lemoyne has been it. Norfolk State has been it. You know, Albany State has been it. Fort Valley State, Savannah State. And I'm naming a lot of HBCUs because a lot of our babies don't know what it is to be, and a lot of them that we work with is African-American young people, right? So we try to put them in the best situation for them to succeed. And a lot of them don't know a lot about who they are. And they learn a lot of that at a HBCU. So that's why you hear me talking a lot about Lemoyne was an HBCU, you know? But just building the relationships with the babies to get them in situations where they can succeed. So that was that. And then the charms, right? We have a young person that's going to Norfolk State. Her number 1 and number 2 was Howard and North Carolina A&T. All right. And she went to Norfolk State. I mean, she had family that had went to Norfolk State, but Norfolk State was the fit for her, you know. But this came first from, and they graduated at 16 years old. They graduated at 16 years old, and they're going to Norfolk State on a full scholarship at 16. So that would be my charm story. And then the other story that the other 2 stories that I told you, those would be for the Gentlemen's Club / Boys to Men. But we getting kids from boys to thinking like men is what we in the business of doing. You know, I know that's knowing, right, that Georgia Power, or in Virginia case, Dominion Power, ain't gonna care about no excuse. I can go to Dominion Power all I want to with an excuse of why I ain't gonna pay the bill. But at the end of the day, you either gonna pay this bill or they gonna turn it off. All right. And that's the real that we keep it with these kids. You know, you can have all the complaints that you want, but if you go to Navy Federal, you go to Town Bank, you know, you go to Commonwealth Bank with the excuses, they'll listen to you. But you 3 months behind, guess what? You finna go into foreclosure. So, I mean, we just try to keep it real, man, so they can understand and know that, hey, man, it ain't no joke out here. And we want you to be productive members of society. And if you work a little bit now, if you can sacrifice and work for these 3-4 years, you know, and if you go into a tech school and you got your mind right, 6 months, if you can do that and have the right mindset, the rest of your life will be easy. But if you try to take the easy route out, you know, trying to go sell drugs or being out gang banging, trying to, you know, steal credit cards and scam people, you know, your life gonna be hard and your life gonna be long. But if you can sacrifice, and you can sacrifice for these 6 months if you go into a tech school, if you can sacrifice these 4 years if you go into a college, the rest of your life will be easy. So that's what we try to tell them, man. And that's, I mean, that at the end of the day, that's it. But you know, you gotta want it, and we're gonna put everything it is in our power, right, to give you the right tools to make sure that you're a productive member of society.
That is fantastic. It reminds me of a saying by Mr. Dave Ramsey: live like no other so you can live like no other. So put in the
That's right.
work now,
That's
sacrifice
right.
now, have people
Right.
laugh at you because they will. That's, oh, what are you doing that for? But at the end of the
That's
day,
right.
it's all about empowering and changing your life for the better. And what you do, the inspiration and the mindset that you're giving these young people, they're going to take that. They're going to become the role models that they don't even realize they are to
That's
their
right.
subordinates, to their peers, and their peers are going to mimic what they're doing without them even realizing it. And
That's
it's a
right.
generational thing that may be changed because of something you and your foundation has done. Now, Joe, my last question for you is, how can we become team members and where can we go for more information?
Wow, man, we got a website, www.jlf or JLHF OU Foundation. It's JLHfoundation.com, right? So it's www.jlhfoundation.com, or on Facebook, Joe Lee Hansley Foundation, on Instagram, Joe Lee Hansley Foundation, and on Twitter, Joe Lee Hansley Foundation. Man, like our social media outlets, man, and far as how you can get involved, man, we always need volunteers. We always need volunteers. We always need speakers to come in. So our Gentlemen's Club, we meet twice a month. The first meeting is usually a meeting where we'll play some games, Life, Monopoly. We've had people come in and give the kids $100,000, and the ones that make the top three that make the most money, right? They get gift cards for $100. You know, whoever make the most money in stock. So obviously, this was a financial advisor, right, and a financial planner, but he came in and gave kids projects where he give them $100,000. He give them 20 stocks that they can buy and sell, and whoever make the most money, he'll give them $100 gift card. And that was for the top three kids. And that was inspiring for kids to one day possibly be a financial advisor, or you know, might even be on Wall Street one day, or have their own financial firm, you know, helping people you know, manage their monies. So yeah.
Fantastic, Joe. And you know what? I have to connect you with a gentleman that was on not too long ago who has a board game called the Entrepreneur Game. Is
I
now
love it.
sold at Walmart, and he's local. He's right here in Richmond. I'll make sure that you two connect, and so you can expose that game to your young people and your team members. Well, thank you so much for being here, Joe. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the passion. And ultimately, thank you for what you're doing and how you're changing lives and changing the community in which we all live,
Of
because
course.
we
So
are
Charles,
local. Yeah.
so the last thing was our email. I don't think I said that,
Okay.
but
Go.
the email address is Joe Lee Hansley Foundation at yahoo.com. Joe Lee Hansley Foundation at yahoo.com. Like I said, we always need volunteers. Man, we'll just love to have help. We'll love to have help, and look forward to working with you in the future. If you got a nonprofit organization and you're doing similar stuff, we ain't got to reinvent the wheel. If you're already doing something, maybe we can partner and, you know, and go that route. You know, just
Oh,
because, I mean, because at the end of the day, it takes a collaborative effort. Because what we come to find out, right, is we got 10 or 15 people doing the same exact thing. But if we can come together, you know, in a collaborative effort, then we can help and bless more people. So that's it.
we
Thank you for
we
the interview. Thank you for your time, and thank you for, you know, allowing me to come on and and talk about what it is that we do. And as you see, and as you said, I'm very, very passionate about it. I love it. Uh, I retired from the military. I was an electrician in the military. I could have got out because I was a EPSI, which is the one that controlled the electrical plant, but I actually controlled the whole engine room
Mm.
Okay, I controlled the whole plant. I controlled the whole ship. So I could have got out and worked at a power plant, controlling the power plant, making $150,000-$200,000 a year. But that ain't what God called me to do. God called me to inspire, love on, and bless these babies and help get them to the next level. And I'm just trying to be obedient to what I've been called to do.
And you are definitely doing that. And we all appreciate the route that you ultimately chose to go in and not being in some power plant, even though that's no knock on anyone who's doing that.
Of
But the
course.
work you're doing now is making a difference. So our listeners out there, thank you for being here. And for those of you who don't know, what Joe has said throughout this entire last half hour will not be edited. It will not be cut out. What he said is what we're going to post on our social media sites so people can hear and see the passion and the commitment this gentleman has for the community and ultimately all of you. You heard what he said. You heard how to get in touch with him. Please do so. Check in with us tomorrow where our guest will be the Virginia Beach Mayor, Mr. Bobby Dyer. Make sure you check that out. Tell your colleagues, family, and friends about us. And remember, we're not global. We are local. Again, I'm your host, Charles Gates. This is Local Legislator Live at 11. Everyone out there in listening and viewing land, have a wonderful day. Until tomorrow, take care.